Welcome to Behind the Scenes of Michael.
Here's a guy who has never acted before. He's never danced. He seemingly doesn't even want to be in the industry. And so I really didn't understand it until I met Jaafar Jackson.
Cutting tails.
He immediately said, I want to take on that fight. And I said, it will be a fight. But I said, I'm going to put you through what I called the Rami Malek training course.
I have never seen anybody work as hard as Jaafar.
Michael has captivated audiences with its star-studded cast and ambitious storytelling. But behind the cameras, the atmosphere was anything but serious. From unexpected bloopers and uncontrollable laughter to cast members breaking character during emotional scenes, the set was filled with hilarious moments that showed a fun side of the production. These behind-the-scenes clips give fans a rare look at the chemistry between the cast.
He thought I was auditioning for him in that lunch, and I was completely being myself. I was not putting on anything.
It sounds crazy, but it kind of shook my whole being. It just really, this can't be true. I've just met the perfect person to play Michael Jackson. So after the lunch, I remember calling my partner Lydia and saying, I think we found him.
And I went, what do you mean? We found him. Don't worry, just trust me on this. I'll explain later. Hung up the phone. And to be honest, I thought Graham was stark raving mad.
And we'll look at and find similarities, because sometimes you feel like, well, Michael's this iconic figure, but Michael was a human being. And I asked him, I said, Jaafar, what is the goal? Jaafar's words to me when I said, why do you want to do this role? He said, I want to wipe my uncle's slate clean by showing his humanity.
Before the cameras started rolling, the team behind Michael faced one question that could make or break the entire film. Could anyone truly capture the presence of the King of Pop? Looking the part was only a small piece of the challenge. The real test was whether the lead actor could carry the same energy, confidence, and natural charisma that made Michael Jackson impossible to take your eyes off. Early rehearsals became a turning point, with every move and every performance being watched closely. Behind the scenes, there were honest conversations, real doubts, and a moment that almost changed everything before the production had even found its rhythm.
We used Billie Jean as the test to see if he has rhythm. Can he stay in pocket? Does he have the right posture? Does he have the same kind of ability just to be a human on stage and capture that same essence? I would say after the first week with Jaafar, it was a little rough. We weren't convinced. Yeah.
They came to me and said they don't think he has it. They don't think he has what he takes. He didn't have that same rhythm. He didn't have the kind of moves. They didn't think he could control his body the way Michael did. And I didn't show them, but I was heartbroken. I was heartbroken, but not giving up either. Called Jaafar, and I remember him saying to me, do they not think I have it? And I said, look, they're not sure you can climb the mountain with the amount of work and put that pressure on you. And he said, can you give me 3 weeks?
And I think it was the third week is when we finally realized, oh, he has the work ethic.
Taking on the role of Michael Jackson was always going to be an enormous challenge, and Jaafar Jackson knew every rehearsal mattered. Long before filming the biggest scenes, the team wanted to see if he could carry the same effortless confidence and magnetic stage presence that made Michael a global icon. It wasn't about looking like him. It was about making people believe they were watching him. That's why one particular rehearsal became a defining moment behind the scenes. With everyone waiting to see whether Jaafar could rise to the occasion, the pressure was real, and the outcome would leave a lasting impression on the entire production.
Michael's brother, Jermaine, and I said, I want to meet your son, Jaafar.
And having Graham come and announce that I had the part in front of my classmates, which they didn't know while I was there, really preparing for Michael, which was so great. But it was amazing to see and feel that and to experience it with my classmates there.
It was very bittersweet. It's that scary leap where you can't hide behind anymore of, no, we can't do this, or is this really happening? But that day that we took Jaafar to his acting class, that was a really special moment.
It it started to come together, and you could feel the magic. And no Jaafar, no Antoine Fuqua. No Jaafar, no movie. No Jaafar, no studio supporting it. So I was like, you know, he is the center, he's the plug. You plug him in, the movie comes alive.
From the very beginning, the filmmakers wanted Michael to be more than just a collection of famous performances or career milestones. Their goal was to tell the story of the man behind the legend, showing the moments that shaped him long before the world knew his name. That meant diving into both the triumphs and the struggles, while carefully balancing emotion with authenticity. It was a huge creative challenge, and every major decision from the script to the performances was made with that vision in mind. As the project evolved, the team slowly discovered what kind of film they were really creating, and that journey became just as important as the story itself.
They could kind of show you something and laugh about it. Like, okay, you know, yeah, you gotta teach me that. Like, maybe there's something like that.
That was juicy right there. What was that?
I never thought I'd be making a Michael Jackson movie, but Michael was always in my life as far back as I can remember. The Jackson 5, seeing him on Soul Train or something, you know, someone that looked like me, same color as me, had a little afro back then, right? You know, all that stuff.
You know, producers live or die by their choices. And this one particularly, I wanted to not rush into that decision. So I was meeting with directors maybe 2 or 3 times, the same directors. And everyone has a point of view on Michael, right? And we all do.
That rehearsal quickly became one of the defining memories of the production. Instead of worrying about whether Jaafar could handle the role, many members of the crew suddenly found themselves believing they were watching Michael's spirit come alive through his performance. It wasn't just about technical precision anymore. It was about creating an emotional connection that felt genuine. With that confidence established, the filmmakers could finally shift their attention toward an even bigger challenge, deciding what kind of story they truly wanted audiences to experience.
Antoine's music background and his dramatic storytelling background were the right ingredients for me.
And you know, Michael was like a diamond, and you turn it in the light and those facets get illuminated. And we explored all of them. And I never at any point felt there's things we couldn't say, couldn't deal with. We explored everything. And finally, in the natural process of making a movie, working with Graham or Lydia Silverman, then with Antoine, you finally find the movie. And then the actors tell you more about what the movie is, you know, and eventually you have the movie. And that process can be grueling, it can be liberating, it can be exciting, but it is the standard process of writing a big movie.
We really had to start from the beginning, and it was really all the pieces of Michael's formative years that made him who he was. But it was also a challenge, because the first part of the movie, the first Michael you see is our young Michael. And it doesn't matter how well Jaafar does for the rest of the film. If you're not hooked into that Michael, everything else falls apart.
But Giuliano came in and there was almost like a star above his head and a light shining on him. He had confidence. He was cocky. He was so, I know how to be Michael Jackson.
Long before audiences got their first look at the film, the biggest question surrounding Michael was whether anyone could truly step into the shoes of the King of Pop. Antoine Fuqua and the rest of the creative team knew that casting the lead would determine the success of the entire project. They weren't just looking for someone who resembled Michael Jackson, they needed someone who could capture his presence, dedication, and emotional depth. That search eventually led them to Jaafar Jackson, but winning the role was only the beginning. What happened next convinced the filmmakers they had found someone capable of carrying one of Hollywood's most demanding performances.
All I could think of was, can Jaafar really pull this off? Man, when the music started and he hit those first few moves, I mean, this guy killed it. I looked at Graham and Graham looked at me. I was like, who is this guy?
I never dreamed to be an actor or even thought of playing him, but I knew it was a calling. Embodying Michael, I really had to earn the role and prove to the filmmakers that I was capable of becoming Michael. You know, essentially it was starting at the roots and finding that authenticity.
He took it to a level that none of us thought he could take it to.
That's part of the magic of Jaafar. He has the desire, like Michael, to be the best.
Cut.
Level up, let's go. Yeah, that's it. That's amazing.
I felt that love from Michael every day on set, from the crew and the cast. Everybody had that love and wanted to put all their heart and soul into it.
The cast of Michael, including Jaafar Jackson, has been opening up in recent interviews about bringing the legendary entertainer's story to life. Along the way, Jaafar has also reflected on his favorite memories with Michael Jackson, sharing heartfelt moments that reveal the close family bond they shared and the inspiration he drew from his uncle while preparing for the role.
I remember the very first time when I had a call, with Graham King, the producer. He spoke to me about it. It was so early on. It was a lot to take in. I'd never acted before. I'd never wanted to act, so I had a lot of I was in conflict with it because I wasn't sure if I can really do it or not. So then I got with an acting coach, and I really want to learn what is acting, and start there before trying to embody Michael. So I did that for about a year, and then I started to really, study Michael's videos, his lyrics, everything about him. And that's when I started to embody him. I collected a large archival of footage I gathered from YouTube, many other websites of all the dancing, and even just off camera where he didn't realize he was on camera, like just in a conversational setting. And I used that to really immerse myself and dissect everything in that way, and then just allowed that to kind of channel through me.
Graham King has spoken passionately about bringing Michael to the big screen, describing the project as a responsibility rather than just another film. He explained that the goal has always been to honor Michael Jackson's extraordinary legacy while presenting an honest and compelling story. King praised the dedication of the cast and crew, highlighting Jaafar Jackson's commitment to portraying his uncle with authenticity and respect. According to King, every detail, from the performances to the music and production, has been carefully crafted to capture the spirit of one of the greatest entertainers in history. He believes audiences will experience a film that celebrates Michael's artistry while offering a deeper look into his remarkable life.
I just felt that the world needed to see a side of Michael that they can't see on YouTube. And, he's not been with us for a while now, so it felt like let's bring him back and bring his music back and celebrate him.
Director Antoine Fuqua has spoken about the enormous responsibility of bringing Michael Jackson's life to the big screen, emphasizing that the film is focused on honoring his legacy while telling a compelling human story. Fuqua praised the dedication of the cast, particularly Jaafar Jackson, saying his commitment and attention to detail helped capture Michael's spirit. He explained that every performance, dance sequence, and emotional moment was approached with authenticity, aiming to give audiences an unforgettable look at the life of one of music's greatest icons.
I could not imagine anyone else playing the part. When I met Jaafar, he's such a sweet spirit. I could tell he had the same sort of spirit as Michael. But when he started to perform, that kind of blew my mind. Came out of nowhere, really. When Graham King called me about directing it, I wasn't thinking about directing a Michael movie. I'm excited that he did. But it's important to me. I think Michael's legacy is important to keep alive. I think any great artist like that that's given us so much, we should try to learn a little bit more about it. And this is an opportunity to do that.
Richmond and Anthony Talawega reflected on the experience of helping recreate Michael Jackson's legendary performances for the film, describing it as both an honor and a major responsibility. Having worked closely with Michael during his career, they focused on preserving the authenticity of his choreography, movement, and stage presence.
It all started with the set list of songs because, we could start anywhere. But I think when we got the script and we had a breakdown of each song that was being presented in the film, that was our starting point. From that point, it was just about figuring out how to start, which was with the foundation, and just knowing how to build from there. And then also, a lot of studying, a lot of homework, that's right, a lot of research. And we studied, us three, me, my brother, and Jaafar, would just sit at a computer and just watch Michael Jackson performances all day. And then we would pause and we would just have conversations and to see how he would articulate what he's watching. Because Michael would learn by watching the television. That's right. He never went to a dance studio. So we wanted to make sure Jaafar was fully equipped with knowing how to pick up with learning from his watching.
The brothers praised Jaafar Jackson's dedication, saying he approached every rehearsal with humility and a genuine desire to capture Michael's essence. According to them, the goal wasn't simply to copy the iconic performances, but to respectfully honor the artistry and precision that made Michael Jackson a global legend.
Jaafar stepping into the loafers. Well, you know what? That's something that we used against him a lot. It was part of our secret weapon. It was like, okay, do you think it's good enough? You think it's good enough? Well, what do you think your uncle think is good enough? Do you think Michael think is good enough? You know what I mean?
And then it got quiet.
And then it got quiet. And you know what I'm saying? But like, it's just surreal to see him. You know, he's a Jackson, obviously. And what amazing family to come from, to be a part of that bloodline, the Jackson bloodline. That's excellence, that's Black excellence, the excellence of America.
Screenwriter John Logan has spoken about the challenge of telling Michael Jackson's story in a way that is both emotionally powerful and respectful of his extraordinary legacy. He explained that the script aims to go beyond the headlines, exploring Michael's artistry, ambition, and personal journey while capturing the moments that shaped his life.
I spent a year just researching and going into the archives and reading his private notes to himself, interviewing his brothers and his family, trying to get some insights. And also, I was a huge fan. I mean, Thriller came out the year I graduated from college, and in Chicago, it like changed the world. So, you know, I never got tired of that.
Logan praised the dedication of the cast, saying everyone involved was committed to honoring one of the greatest entertainers in history through an authentic and compelling film. Nia Long has shared her admiration for being part of Michael, describing the film as a meaningful opportunity to celebrate the life and legacy of one of music's greatest icons. She praised the dedication of the cast and crew, especially Jaafar Jackson, whose commitment to portraying Michael impressed everyone on set. Long explained that the production was driven by respect for Michael's story, with every scene crafted to capture both the emotional depth and extraordinary impact of his life and career.
All we wanted to do was to honor and celebrate Michael. You're going to see the process in which he took from becoming a young child star to becoming an adult star. And I think, you know, the difference between us and him is that he had millions and millions of people watching him as he was trying to go through the process of self-discovery, which is difficult for everyone. And so the story is told from his point of view. You really are inside of his mind watching the film, and I think that that's super important and amazing and something new. And that's the story that Graham King and Antoine Fuqua set out to tell.
Coleman Domingo has spoken about the honor of portraying Joe Jackson in Michael, describing the role as both challenging and deeply rewarding. He explained that he wanted to present a layered and authentic portrayal, capturing the complexity of Joe's character rather than a one-dimensional version. Domingo also praised the cast, especially Jaafar Jackson, for their commitment to bringing Michael's story to life with honesty and respect. He believes the film gives audiences a deeper understanding of the people and relationships that shaped one of music's greatest legends. Other team members also shared their thoughts.
I think it's a blessing that I still will figure out later in my life about exactly what I've been experiencing with Jaafar. He is divine, he is love, he is spirit, he is dance. He is truly the only one that could have played Michael in this film.
It's interesting. I think the young generation are going to see a side of Michael they've never seen before. They know him from the bad era on, and we're going back to the roots into Gary, Indiana. And I think the young generation are going to learn a lot about Michael that they didn't know.
You know, it was the performances. It was, you know, Motown 25 when he did Billie Jean, and suddenly you saw the moonwalk for the first time. You know, and also just his personal story, because I think that's what's so rewarding for audiences, is they've seen great performances, but they get to find out who Michael Jackson actually was and what his struggles were.
Kaylin Durrell Jones has spoken about the excitement of being part of Michael, describing the project as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He praised the dedication of the cast and crew, highlighting the passion that went into recreating the world of Michael Jackson. Jones also commended Jaafar Jackson's commitment to the role, saying his work ethic and attention to detail helped bring authenticity to the film. According to Jones, everyone involved shared the same goal: to honor Michael's incredible legacy while delivering a powerful and memorable cinematic experience. Other members of the Michael movie also revealed interesting stories and insights.
The concert scenes alone are incredible. Like, if you never got a chance to see Mike in concert, this is as close as you're going to get. Jafar is out of this world, and Giuliano as well. And those moments in between, you know, those little quiet moments in between, you get a sort of a peek behind the veil and see the man, the humanity behind the icon.
I had a research book over 800 pages of just Michael's looks and the Jackson 5. It was very important for me to replicate what was available to me in current day as far as fabric, but even down to the rhinestones, even the socks and the gloves. And so I like to say his spirit kind of guided me through LA to find certain things that allowed me to recreate his look almost to a T.
It's a spectacle. It is an epic story with, you know, as loud as you could play it on the widest possible screen, to see those performances and to see him explode the way he exploded in life.
The early rehearsals weren't simply about memorizing choreography or dialogue. They became the first real opportunity for the filmmakers to discover whether they had chosen the right person to portray Michael Jackson.
That's the way Michael would want you to see it, so you can feel that magic. And I think it's important to get immersed in it through the big screen, through the big sound, and especially with the performances, but also those little moments where you want to see the emotion in the eyes. So you can only get that on the big screen.
Make sure to check out our other videos on the screen.